Well, I was just cleaning out my scrap pile and I found this piece of walnut I had forgotten about. So let's make a cutting board. All right, this is a great piece of walnut that I just forgot I had and I'd been meaning to do something with it. It's a great size, it's 2 inches thick. It's perfect for an end grain cutting board. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to get it onto my miter saw, make some rough cuts, and start getting it down to size and get this thing ready to go. All right, I've got my boards cut down to my rough length. We're going to go with about a 20-inch by 18-inch overall size cutting board. It's going to be really nice, really big. So I'm setting up my table saw to get my strips cut. And one of the nice things I did here with my table saw, if you notice, I don't have an outfeed table, but I put my table saw onto a bench that is the exact height of my workbench. So when I push it up against my workbench, I have an outfeed table. And when I don't need it, it's a workbench. It works really great for me. I can tuck the table saw away, but enough about that. Here I am. I'm cutting down all my strips to roughly 2 inches. So I'm going to end up with about a 2 by 2 little checkerboard pattern, which I think looks nice, but let's finish cutting down these pieces. Now that all my strips are cut to size, we can get into glue up number 1. When you have a checkerboard style cutting board, as you probably already know, there's actually 2 glue ups. This is the first one. Here we're getting all our strips lined up and joined together. Make sure you get enough glue on there and get everything clamped up really nice and tight. Make sure you have your cawls on the side so that your board isn't wanting to bend while it's in the clamps. And let's come back tomorrow and get this thing out and move on to the next step. Board is out of the clamps, it's glued up nicely. First things first, let's get it sanded down. Those little bit of rough edges that we had there from the glue up, we want to get rid of those before we go ahead and start cutting up the board for our second glue up. Once we've got it all nice and sanded and smooth, I'm cutting off the rough edges. So again, we have a nice straight edge so that we can get it through our table saw and now make our cuts that we're going to end up with our checkerboard pattern here. When we do our next glue up, let's get these cuts done and I'll show you that. All right, glue up number 2. This is where you flip your end grain up so that you have an end grain surface that you'll be doing your cutting on, and your checkerboard pattern starts to show itself, and hopefully you end up with some nice grain and a really nice looking pattern. Get that thing in the clamps, clamp it all up really well again, and let that cure. Once you're done with that, it's time to sand, sand, sand. So once you have it out of the clamps, again, this is the next day, start sanding that thing and get it nice and smooth. Once I got the rough sand to like an 80 grit done, I went ahead, I kind of cheated a bit. I went onto my CNC to do my juice groove because I have it and it's easier than using my router, so sue me. Once I had that done, back to do some more sanding. I bring it down to 220 grit. And then the most important step when you're talking with cutting boards, charcuterie boards, anything like that, is the water pop. You want to do this a few times. I do it about 3 times for walnut. Hit that thing with water, it'll raise the grain, let it dry, come back, sand it again. I'm not going to bore you with the sanding water pop, sanding water pop. Just trust that you got to do it. I did it 3 times. Once that's done, this is the best part. oiling up your board. I'm using some Watco butcher block oil. It's my favorite thing to use for cutting boards and charcuterie boards and that sort of stuff. And look at that end grain cutting board checkerboard pattern. That's basically it. We let this thing soak in for a day, clean it off, and there's your finished piece. Thanks for watching.